Listen up. You want to make him miss you? Really miss you? Then you got to understand this. It ain't about begging for attention. It's about commanding it without even being in the room. Now, this ain't about playing games. It ain't about manipulation. Nah, it's about presence. Your presence. See, when you send that one text, the right text, you're not just sending words, you're planting a seed of curiosity, a seed of longing, a seed of regret. So what do you say? What do you text? You say this: I just heard something today that reminded me of you, but I'll tell you later. And then you wait. See, now you've done something powerful. You didn't chase. You didn't plead. You didn't over-explain. You dropped a little mystery, just enough to make him wonder, just enough to make him question. Because here's the thing. People don't miss what's always there. They miss what they think they've lost. And that's power. Now, don't go double texting. Don't go filling in the silence. Let him sit with it. Let him feel that space where you used to be. Let him crave that answer, that connection. Because when he finally texts back, and he will, trust me, he will, you'll know that he misses you. See, here's what most people don't understand. You don't beg for attention, you command it. There's a huge difference between the two. When you beg, when you chase, when you constantly remind someone of your presence, you become predictable. And predictability, it kills excitement. It takes away the mystery. It makes them feel like they don't have to work for you, like they don't have to earn your time. But when you command attention, when you hold your power and let them come to you, that's when they start to crave you. Now, commanding attention doesn't mean playing hard to get. It doesn't mean acting distant for the sake of it. No. What it means is knowing your worth. It means carrying yourself with confidence, with purpose, with value. It means making sure that you are so full of life, so full of energy, so full of self-respect that people feel your presence even in your absence. Because let me tell you, people don't remember the ones who were always available, always chasing, always giving too much. They remember the ones who had a life of their own, the ones who weren't waiting by the phone, the ones who weren't desperate for validation. Think about the last time you truly missed someone. Was it the person who was always in your face, always texting, always making it easy? No. It was the one who made you wonder, the one who left an impact and then disappeared for a moment, the one who didn't make themselves so accessible. That's the key right there. It's not about ignoring them. It's about making them realize what it feels like when you're not around. That's the feeling that keeps people up at night. That's the feeling that makes them reach for their phone, type out a message, and hesitate. Because now, they're the ones wondering if you'll reply. And let me tell you something else. When you become the kind of person who commands attention, you stop worrying about whether someone misses you or not. Because deep down, you already know they do. You know that you've left a mark. You know that you've given them something real to think about. And even if they don't reach out right away, that feeling stays with them. That absence becomes noticeable. And the more noticeable it is, the more they start to crave your presence again. Now, a lot of people get this part wrong. They think, if I pull away, if I give them space, won't they just forget about me? But that only happens when you don't bring anything valuable to the table. That only happens when you don't have a presence worth remembering. But if you're strong, independent, confident, if you're someone who knows how to make an impact, trust me, they won't forget. They can't. Presence isn't just about being physically there. It's about the energy you bring. It's about the way you make people feel when they're around you, the way you challenge them, the way you make them laugh, the way you make them think. If you bring something rare, something unforgettable, something powerful, then your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. And when someone realizes that, that's when they start to miss you like crazy. So, If you want to make someone miss you, don't overthink it. Don't chase, don't beg, don't try too hard. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of person that naturally leaves an impression. Focus on building a life that is so fulfilling, so exciting, so rich with experiences that even if someone isn't around, they can still feel you. They can still hear your laughter. They can still remember the way you made them feel, because that's what makes people come back. That's what makes people crave you. Words are powerful. They have the ability to create emotions, to spark curiosity, to make someone stop everything they're doing and think about you. But here's the mistake most people make. They say too much. They think that if they pour out all their feelings in one long, detailed message, the person on the other end will suddenly have a revelation and miss them. But it doesn't work like that. See, mystery is far more powerful than explanation. It's not about what you say, it's about what you leave unsaid. The right text isn't a paragraph full of emotions. It's one sentence that lingers. It's something that makes the person stop, reread it, and wonder. It's something that plants a thought in their mind that they can't shake off. And the perfect example of that? I just heard something today that reminded me of you, but I'll tell you later. Now, let's break this down. Why does this work? Why does this simple sentence have the power to make someone miss you like crazy? First, it plays on curiosity. Human beings hate unfinished business. When someone starts a story and doesn't finish it, our brains naturally try to fill in the blanks. We start wondering, imagining, questioning. That one sentence is enough to make the other person start thinking, what did they hear? Was it something good? Something bad? Why did they think of me? See, now they're caught in the loop. Now they're giving you their attention without you even having to ask for it. Second, it reminds them of connection. You didn't just text them out of nowhere. You didn't say, I miss you, or I've been thinking about you in a way that sounds needy. Instead, you created a situation where they naturally assume that they're still on your mind. And the beauty of it, you didn't even have to say it. That's the power of suggestion. When someone realizes they're being thought of, they start thinking in return. It's like a mirror effect. What you reflect, they absorb. Third, it does something that most texts fail to do. It creates anticipation. You didn't just drop a message and end the conversation. No, you left it open. You left them wanting more. And that is where the power lies. Because now, every minute that passes without a follow-up, every hour that goes by without an explanation, they start feeling that little ache of curiosity, that longing to know what you were going to say. And that right there, that's when they start to miss you. Now, here's the key. You don't rush to explain. You don't send that text and then 10 minutes later say, oh, by the way, it was just a song I heard, or it was just something silly someone said. No, you let them sit with it. You let them feel the weight of not knowing, because mystery is your greatest weapon. And in today's world where everyone overshares, where everyone is constantly texting, constantly available, being the one who leaves a little mystery makes you stand out. And let's talk about standing out. Because let me tell you something, not every text gets a reaction. Some texts get ignored. Some texts get read and forgotten. But a text like this, a text that sparks curiosity, connection, and anticipation, that's the kind of text they remember. That's the kind of text that makes them check their phone, waiting for a follow-up. That's the kind of text that makes them realize your presence by feeling your absence. So, the next time you feel the urge to reach out, to send a long message explaining how much you miss them, pause. Take a step back, and instead, send something simple, something that lingers. Because when you do that, you don't just send a message, you create a moment they won't be able to forget. Silence is powerful. It speaks louder than words, and when used correctly, it can create more longing, more curiosity, and more emotion than any paragraph full of feelings ever could. But here's where most people go wrong. They think that more words mean more impact. They believe that if they pour their heart out, if they explain every single thought, every single feeling, the other person will suddenly realize their worth and come running back. But the truth? It doesn't work like that. See, when you over-explain, when you send long emotional messages, you take away the most powerful element of human attraction: mystery. Think about it. What makes a great story, a great movie, a great conversation? It's the things left unsaid, the spaces between the words, the unanswered questions, the moments that make you think, that make you wonder, that make you feel. And when you text too much, when you give away too much too soon, you remove all of that. You leave no room for the other person to miss you. Less is more because it creates curiosity. If you send a long message explaining your feelings, it gives the other person everything they need to move on. They don't have to wonder what you're thinking. They don't have to guess how you feel. They don't have to replay past moments in their head, searching for answers. You've handed it all to them on a silver platter, and once they have it, there's nothing left to crave. But when you keep things short, when you leave things open-ended, you plant a seed of mystery in their mind. And that seed, it grows. It takes root in their thoughts. And soon, they start missing you, not because you reminded them, but because their own mind won't let them forget. And let's be honest, people don't value things that come too easily. They value what they have to work for, what they have to wonder about. Think about the last time you truly missed someone. Was it because they flooded your phone with texts? Or was it because they pulled back? Because they gave you just enough to remember them, but not enough to satisfy you? That feeling of wanting more, of needing more, is what keeps people hooked. It's what makes them check their phone, waiting for a message that doesn't come. It's what makes them start questioning, why aren't they texting me? Did I do something wrong? Are they thinking about me? And once those thoughts start, once those questions begin, it's only a matter of time before they reach out. This is why self-control is so important. The temptation to explain, to chase, to clarify, it's strong. But the strongest people, the ones who truly understand attraction, hold back. They know that saying less makes the other person listen more, that a short, vague text carries more weight than a long, emotional one, that silence, when used wisely, creates impact. When you don't text too much, when you don't over-explain, you create a gap. And in that gap, the other person fills in the blanks. They start imagining, assuming, remembering. And in that process, they begin to miss you. Now, does this mean you should play games? No. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding that human nature craves what isn't fully given, that people appreciate what they have to earn, that a single well-placed sentence, something simple, something effortless, can hold more power than 1,000 words. So, the next time you feel the urge to over-explain, to type out everything you're feeling, stop, breathe, and remember, less is more. Because when you say less, they start thinking more. Have you ever noticed how people don't truly appreciate something until it's gone? It's human nature. When we have constant access to something or someone, we start to take it for granted. It becomes familiar, routine, expected. And when something is expected, it loses its spark. This is why people don't miss what's always available. They miss what they can't have. They miss what feels lost. If you want someone to miss you, if you want to occupy their thoughts, then you have to give them the gift of your absence. See, most people make the mistake of thinking that if they stay close, present, always checking in, they can remind someone of their value. But in reality, the opposite is true. When you are always there, always texting, always reaching out first, you become predictable. You become too easy to access. And when something is too easy, it loses its value. The moment you pull back, the moment you stop reaching out, something interesting happens. The other person starts to notice your absence. And that's when the shift begins. Think about a song you've heard 1,000 times. At first, you love it. You play it on repeat. But over time, the excitement fades. You start skipping it. But then, imagine not hearing that song for months. One day it comes on unexpectedly, and suddenly all those emotions come rushing back. Why? Because distance makes us reappreciate what we once overlooked. The same applies to people. When you remove yourself from someone's daily life, you force them to experience life without you. And if you were someone who brought joy, laughter, depth, and meaning to their life, that absence will hit them hard. Now, this doesn't mean you should disappear just to play games. It means you have to understand your own worth. You are not here to convince someone to value you. You are here to make them realize on their own what it feels like when you're not around. And that realization, that's what makes someone miss you. That's what makes them replay old conversations, reread old messages, scroll through pictures they thought they'd forgotten. That's when they feel the impact of your absence. Most people are afraid to pull away because they think, what if they move on? What if they don't care? But here's the truth. If someone truly cares, they will feel the space you leave behind. If they don't, then they were never truly invested in the first place. And wouldn't you rather know that now than waste time chasing someone who never valued you? Your absence is a test. It reveals who really notices, who really cares, and who is just there for convenience. But here's the best part. When someone realizes they miss you, when they truly feel your absence, they won't just miss you, they'll crave you. They'll start wondering why you pulled away. They'll start questioning what changed. And once those thoughts start, they don't stop. The more they think, the more they miss. And the more they miss, the more they start to value you. That's how it works. That's how you make someone realize what they had, by showing them what life is like without you. So instead of constantly proving your worth, instead of always being the one who reaches out first, try something different. Step back, give them space, let them feel the difference between having you and not having you. Because when they do, that's when they truly start to miss you. Not because you reminded them, but because they felt the weight of your absence all on their own. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have, yet most people are too afraid to use it. See, in today's world where everyone is constantly connected, texting, calling, checking social media, silence has become uncomfortable. People think that if they don't speak, if they don't reach out, if they don't fill the gaps, they'll be forgotten. But the truth? Silence is where emotions grow. It's where longing begins. It's where someone starts to feel your absence, starts to wonder about you, starts to miss you. Most people make the mistake of thinking that words create connection. But it's not just the words. It's the space between them. Have you ever been in a deep conversation where suddenly there's a pause? And that pause makes the moment feel heavier, deeper, more meaningful? That's because silence has weight. It creates anticipation. It makes people listen more. And when used correctly, it can make someone think about you even when you're not saying a single word. Now let's talk about why silence is so powerful when it comes to making someone miss you. See, when you constantly reach out, when you always text first, when you keep filling the silence, you're doing all the work for them. You're not giving them the chance to wonder about you. And if they never have to wonder, they never have to miss you. But the moment you go quiet, the moment you stop filling the gaps, that's when their mind starts working. That's when they start questioning, why haven't they texted? What are they doing? Are they thinking about me? And once those thoughts start, they don't stop. Silence also shifts the power dynamic. If you're always the one reaching out, you're the one seeking validation, you're the one putting in the effort. But when you step back, when you let the silence grow, it forces them to step forward. It makes them feel the space you've left. And if they care, if they truly value you, they'll start to fill that space on their own. They'll be the ones reaching out. They'll be the ones trying to reconnect. And that moment when they realize they miss you is far more powerful than anything you could have said to convince them. Now, a lot of people fear silence because they think, what if they don't reach out? What if they don't miss me? And that's a valid fear. But here's the reality. You only want people in your life who truly value you. If your silence doesn't affect them, if they don't notice your absence, then that's your answer right there. That means they were never as invested as you thought. And while that truth may hurt, it's better to know now than to keep chasing someone who doesn't truly care. But when they do notice, when they do start missing you, that's when silence does its real work. Because now, when they reach out, it's not out of obligation. It's not because you pushed them. It's because they felt something. They felt your absence. They felt the difference between having you in their life and not having you. And that's a realization that sticks. It's a feeling that lingers. It's the kind of longing that doesn't just disappear overnight. So the next time you feel the urge to break the silence, to check in, to remind them of your presence, pause. Let them sit with the silence. Let them feel your absence. Because in that quiet space, in that moment of missing you, that's when they realize just how much your presence truly matters. When it comes to making someone miss you, the most powerful emotions aren't the ones you force on them. They're the ones they create in their own mind. See, people don't hold on to words the way they hold on to feelings. They may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And the strongest emotions? The ones that keep someone up at night, replaying moments over and over. Those aren't created through long messages or constant reminders. They're created through absence, mystery, and the space you leave behind. Here's what most people get wrong. They think that if they keep texting, keep explaining, keep reminding someone of their presence, they can make them feel something. But the truth? Forced emotions never last. Real emotions, the ones that make someone truly miss you, are the ones that build naturally inside their mind. And the way you make that happen? You leave room for them to feel. You don't over-explain. You don't overreach. You don't give them everything. You leave gaps. Gaps that their mind will fill in ways far more powerful than anything you could have said. Think about a great movie. The best moments are often the ones where less is said, but more is felt. The quiet moments, the unanswered questions, the emotions that linger long after the scene has ended. Why? Because the mind loves to fill in blanks. It loves to attach meaning to things that aren't fully explained. And when you give someone just enough to feel something, but not enough to fully understand it, you create an effect that stays with them. They start replaying moments, searching for meaning, trying to make sense of the way they feel. And that's where true longing begins. Now let's bring this back to texting. If you send long paragraphs pouring out all your feelings, you leave them with nothing to wonder about. You hand them all the answers. There's no mystery, no tension, no room for them to feel anything other than what you've told them to feel. But if you keep it short, if you say just enough to spark curiosity but not enough to satisfy it, now their mind starts working. Now they start wondering. Now they start imagining scenarios, creating emotions that are far stronger than anything you could have forced onto them. This is why some of the most powerful texts aren't the long, emotional ones. They're the short, simple ones that leave room for the other person to think. Something as simple as, "I saw something today that reminded me of you," can hold more weight than an entire paragraph. Why? Because it plants a thought. It makes them wonder, what did they see? Why did it remind them of me? Are they still thinking about me? And just like that, they start creating their own emotions, their own curiosity, their own longing. And emotions we create ourselves are always the strongest. But here's the key. You have to let the feeling grow. If you immediately answer their curiosity, if you rush to explain everything, you take away the power. You have to let them sit with the thought. Let them feel the weight of it. Let their mind do the work. Because when someone's own thoughts start working against them, when they start missing you, questioning things, replaying moments, you've already won. You've already taken up space in their mind. And that's where emotions turn into obsession. So, don't try to force emotions. Don't try to make someone miss you by telling them they should. Instead, give them the space to feel it on their own. Let their own mind do the work. Because the emotions they create, those are the ones that last. The strongest connections aren't built in moments of presence. They're built in moments of absence. See, when you're around someone all the time, they become used to you. They become comfortable. They assume you'll always be there, always responding, always available. And when something is always available, it becomes less special. But when you're not around, when there's a space where you used to be, that's when they start to feel your presence in a way they never did before. Think about it. When do we miss people the most? It's not when they're right in front of us. It's when we can't reach them. When we wake up expecting a message that never comes. When we go about our day and suddenly realize something's missing. When a place, a song, a scent, or a random moment brings them back to us. And the people who leave the biggest impact, they don't do it by constantly reminding us of their existence. They do it by leaving behind a feeling so strong that their presence is felt even in their absence. But here's the mistake most people make. They try too hard to be remembered. They overtext, overexplain, overstay. They try to hold on to the connection so tightly that it suffocates. And what happens when something feels overwhelming? People push it away. They stop craving it. They start seeing it as a burden instead of something to miss. That's why pulling away at the right time in the right way is so powerful. Because when you step back, you give them the chance to feel the difference between having you and not having you. And if you've made a real impact, that difference will hit them like a storm. See, people don't just miss you, they miss the way you made them feel. The energy, the laughter, the peace, the depth, whatever you brought into their life, that's what they feel the loss of. And that feeling, it lingers. It follows them into their quiet moments, into their nights, into the spaces where they used to find you. That's why you don't have to force someone to miss you. You just have to create a feeling they can't replace. A presence that becomes so deeply woven into their life that when you're gone, the emptiness speaks louder than any message you could ever send. And this is why detachment is so important. Most people struggle to step back because they fear, what if they forget me? What if they move on? But the truth is, if you had a real impact, they can't forget you. They might try. They might distract themselves. They might even pretend they don't care. But at some point, when the distractions fade, when the silence stretches, when they find themselves alone with their thoughts, that's when your absence becomes undeniable. Now, this doesn't mean you disappear completely or play games. It means you understand the power of pulling back, that instead of chasing, you let them come to you, that instead of constantly giving, you allow them to feel the weight of your absence. Because when someone realizes how much they miss you, when they feel that space you left behind, they don't just remember you, they crave you. So don't be afraid to step away. Don't be afraid to let them feel what life is like without you. Because when someone truly values you, when they truly feel your presence, even in your absence, that's when missing you turns into wanting you back. You can write the most heartfelt messages, you can pour your emotions into paragraphs, you can remind someone 1,000 times how much you care, but none of that will ever compare to the power of absence. See, words are easy to say. They can be read, ignored, or even forgotten. But a feeling, a presence that is suddenly gone, that lingers, that leaves an imprint. And nothing makes a person long for something more than the sudden realization that it's no longer there. People don't crave things they already have access to. That's why the things we chase often feel so valuable, because they are just out of reach. The moment something becomes too available, it starts to lose its grip on us. It's human nature. We value what feels scarce. We desire what feels just beyond our fingertips. And that's why pulling away, strategically, intentionally, can make someone miss you more than any words ever could. Think about the last time you lost something important. Maybe it was a relationship, an opportunity, a phase of life you didn't appreciate until it was over. Did you miss it when you had it? Probably not as much. But the moment it was gone, that's when the memory started flooding back. That's when you wished you had done things differently, held on tighter, valued it more. And that's exactly how the human mind works. We don't truly recognize the depth of our emotions until we are forced to sit with the empty space that person once filled. Now, this is where most people make a mistake. They try to talk their way into someone's heart. They try to convince them to care, to feel something, to stay. But you can't talk someone into missing you. You have to let them feel it on their own. And the way they feel it, by giving them the silence, the space, the absence that forces them to recognize what they had. Words might remind them, but absence makes them feel it. The power of absence is that it gives the other person time to reflect, and reflection is where emotions grow. When you're constantly present, when you're always reminding someone of your existence, they don't have the chance to truly sit with their feelings. But the moment you step back, the moment you stop giving them access to you, their mind starts working. They start questioning. They start remembering. They start realizing. And that's when they miss you. Not because you told them to, but because they can't help it. See, people don't just miss a person. They miss the feeling that person gave them. They miss the laughter, the deep conversations, the comfort, the connection. And when you're no longer there, they start searching for that feeling. They start replaying moments in their head, wondering if they'll ever experience them again. And the more they think, the more they miss. And the more they miss, the stronger the desire becomes. So, if you truly want someone to miss you, stop trying to convince them. Step back. Let the absence do the work. Because in the end, it's not your words that will make them crave you. It's the realization that their life just doesn't feel the same without you in it. And now, here's the truth you need to hold on to. If they truly care, they will feel your absence. If they truly value you, they won't be able to ignore the space you've left behind. Because when something real is gone, when something meaningful is missing, it creates a void that nothing else can fill. And that void, that's where longing begins. That's where emotions deepen. That's where they start to realize what they had and what they lost. But here's what you need to understand. Your worth is not measured by how much you chase. Your value is not proven by how many times you remind someone of your presence. You don't beg to be missed. You don't plead to be remembered. No, you become unforgettable by being someone they simply can't replace. Because when someone truly misses you, when they feel the weight of your absence, they won't just think about you. They'll reach out. They'll wonder why you're no longer there. They'll start looking for you in places they used to find you. And that's when you know you've left your mark. So don't waste time trying to convince someone to care. Don't exhaust yourself proving your worth. Instead, become someone so valuable, so impactful, that your absence is felt just as strongly as your presence. And when they finally realize it, when they finally come to you craving what they once had, that's when you'll know it wasn't your words that made them miss you, it was who you are. And that is power.